Okay, so for week 4, I chose to do the why do you think the case is not as well known as Brown. I also chose to do it based off of the Lemon Grove incident. To me, it kind of goes and explains itself with the reading of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. With this week that we read specifically, it was giving us all of the cases that go hand in hand together with the desegregation process and how Mexican Americans weren't the only ones that were fighting for the desegregation and wanting equal education. Yes, granted, African Americans were also included because they were getting paired together as a minority group themselves, but the main focus was on Mexican Americans getting their equality. So why I think the case is not well known as Brown is because my research project that I'm doing involves the Chicano Civil Rights Movement. The Chicano Civil Rights Movement is about Mexican Americans fighting for their rights just like the African Americans did in the Civil Rights Act and the Civil Rights Movement and everything that we've learned in history books, which goes to show that not a lot of people know about the Chicano Civil Rights Movement. That being said, Brown versus Board of Education is more focused on African American equality and their education equality and what they did to get their equality for their minority group. The Lemon Grove incident is more focused on Mexican American students, and it is only known in San Diego history. It's not known in Texas. California, maybe it might because San Diego is in California, but we don't hear about it as much as we do about Brown versus the Board of Education, but because mainly they're two different minority groups. Even though they're both minority groups and they're both the ones that are fighting for desegregation, Brown is more pushed and more focused in school. Like, I know I learned about it in high school over and over and over again, and of course in college now. And I've heard about the Brown versus Board of Education only because it deals solely with African American students. Lemon Grove, on the other hand, is not with African American students, it's Mexican American students. It's weird because it's kind of the same era, of course, and they're both focusing on one main thing, is education equality. So I believe that you should use Brown versus Board of Education as an example of being able to agree on students being protected under the 14th Amendment, but use Brown versus Board of Education as an example, and they should have used that as an example for the Lemon Grove incident, which would have gone hand in hand together even more and would have made more sense after reading this week for the Treaty of the Guadalupe Hidalgo.